Michael Miller's special guest today is Rabbi Ari Werbler. Thank you very much for joining us, Rabbi.
It's my honor. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about this little guy right here. Tell us about, a couple months ago you gave this to me, and I said, what do you want me to do with this?
Yeah.
And so what are we supposed to do with it? What happens when this gets fuller?
So there's a word in Hebrew which we use and translates poorly into English called tzedakah, which in English is charity. But actually the root of the word is tzedek, which means right. It's the right thing to do. So the intention is when two people meet, like we're here doing today and connecting to many other people, is that a third will also benefit. So when you put something in that box, the idea is that it goes to somebody else's table. And that connection expands outward. So we hope to keep it going. When it fills up, we empty and fill it again.
Well, we have a surprise for you.
Yeah. Oh.
Everybody it comes in, I make them put some money in there.
Wow.
So I wish they were $100 bills, but they're whatever they are. So that's for you and the Chabad of Southwest Miami.
It'll only go to helping more in the community.
And this was actually pretty good because it's easy. We took the plug out at the bottom. We were able to put it in that way rather than trying to put it through there. So that's the top there. So we figured out I was going to give this to some people I know, see if they could open this up and seal it back up. But you're going to figure out how to get it out, right? So thanks for doing that. And so if somebody wants one of these, just put it on your desk and people will ask you about it. Say, put something in.
Right.
So what is it about when we give and when we receive that so often when people receive, sometimes people don't feel worthy to receive, and they feel uncomfortable. So I know you've had a lot of experience on both those sides of giving, whether it's emotional support or things or love or clothing or food, and so often again people are reluctant to accept. And what can people do so they will allow more people to give freely on both ways?
That's a wonderful, wonderful question. I think by divine providence, this week's Torah portion speaks about Abraham and Sarah. And it's called Lech Lecha. Let's go. There's no fancy titles given, CEO of many nations or anything like that. And I think what happens is sometimes we perceive, and I heard this today in a class that I was listening to, in having to give a class, joy or a sense of value coming in having, when really it's about belonging. So the reason, and what the Torah is teaching us, the portion of the week, is that we already belong. And I think sometimes we have this innate desire to be the giver, which is a good thing. Lech Lecha means go. You have something to give too. And so the idea of having sometimes actually makes us a bit uncomfortable. It makes us feel like, wait a second, this is not really who I am. When the truth is we all have something to give. So by recognize that we actually belong first, Lech Lecha, go. It's not about your titles or what's going to come later or what you actually accomplished in your giving. It's just that you did and you have something to give. So once everybody sees that they have something to give, then they're willing to also receive. It's not so much that I feel a sense of shame in receiving. It's the idea that we all complete each other, which is what we're here, what it's all about.
Hurricane Andrew, some 35 years ago, 33, our house was destroyed, the roof off, not just the plywood, but the walls and everything.
Yeah.
And people would send us a lot of stuff, clothing and toiletries and money and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty traumatic moment for Susan and me and the kids. And as we were looking through the house, I went into the bedroom, the walls were off the bedroom, and I said, where's that medal that I earned from running the New York Marathon? That was my first thing.
Yeah.
And I'm crawling along the floor. There's no walls.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, where is it? And finally, I had this epiphany. The sun was shining on me. I said, it doesn't matter where it is because you have it inside.
Mm.
And at the same moment, I said, oh, my goodness, where is the 10th-year anniversary ring that I was going to give to my wife? That was in August. October is their wedding anniversary. I said, that's important. and I found it.
Good.
Thank goodness. And I gave it to Susan on no walls.
Yeah.
House is destroyed.
Oh, wow.
The floor is riddled, the second story. And I gave it to her up there. And as we went through that couple months, I said, what did I ever do to deserve all these people giving us stuff?
Right.
My brother and I really never were we always liked to give.
Yeah.
And whether that was because I could do it or because I didn't know how to receive. It was then that I started allowing the opportunity for other people to give. And it was that trauma that caused where I didn't really have a lot of choice because
Right.
I'm looking at a box of toothpaste and I don't have any. I'm going, that's pretty good.
Right.
Whether somebody gave it to me or I got it, but because somebody gave it to me, it opened up a lot. And over the years, I questioned all the time, what is it about me that didn't want to happily accept? And what did I do to deserve that, get that? And I might have mentioned this a couple months ago. I'm walking through the building and really feeling very fulfilled about the mission that all of us here at Community Newspapers are doing and fulfilling and bringing people together. And I said, what did I do to deserve this? And it came just like lightning, because you're a good guy. And once you get to that place, that I think that it gets easier for us to be able to give and receive, like the sun comes up, the tide comes in and out. And so, part of what Grant and I are trying to do is allow other people an opportunity to be able to give to others and also to be able to receive. So when we work with lots of not-for-profits who help way beyond the average person, because the people that they are giving to, all right, most of them really need it. Then I also recognize the person is giving it. They really need to do that too. And so we were able to give to them, all right?
Yes.
And we receive by virtue that we're giving it,
Right.
to them. So here we are. This is there's a couple New Year's coming up, all right? And the calendar New Year's is just in a couple months. And I'm looking. So what do you want, Rabbi, to happen in your life and in the lives of the people that you know globally, and then also in here? What is it that you hope for them?
First of all, you inspired me, but you're also helping on this in many ways. Again, giving people the chance to give and receive. So this is something that we should give, to pay it forward again. Together we could do.
Okay.
We should go together and see the ripple effect of this studio continue outward.
Terrific.
Exponentially, as it's already been.
Wonderful.
I was just on the.
By the way, I have goosebumps. My legs are all goosebumpy. All right, my arms. All right, so that's great. Thank you.
I think first you're highlighting the idea of being givers and receivers. Actually, these are terminologies used in the deeper teachings of our tradition, which are true for all of existence. Is that we all have this mashpia makabel. We receive and give. It's a reciprocal thing. Rather than people talk about codependency, it's interdependence. And I think that is in every conversation I have, and having my own experiences with challenges. This feeling, it's humbling. It's humbling when you're, so to say, become dependent on somebody else or something else. And perhaps, I'm not saying that this is necessarily the message for you, but I know it's something that I've thought about, that's the goal, that's the point, is that we should see how we all are completing each other. So when I have a conversation like this afternoon, we had a lunch and learn where we did it in person, we do by Zoom. It was the idea that, a fellow community member was saying that there's so much to learn, there's so much, and is that healthy that I'm feeling that desire? And I said, I'm admirable. That's great. This feeling that it's almost we can be scared of the lack, and at the same time, that is the greatest impetus for growth and connection. So if I would say something for myself, for my community, for the world, is to see that, people call it love, but R-E-S-P-E-C-T, real love comes through respect, that I have a particular role, you do, the world in general does, and that requires not just giving unconditionally, because that's not healthy either, that I have boundaries too, and that's why you have compassion. Compassion is really seeing what the moment needs, that there's both, that you and I can coexist, right? That you have a particular role and I do, and learning. Now that's the truth is simple but not easy. That's a lifelong effort, whether in our human, like a spousal relationship, with children, family, community, is knowing what is needed of me right now to help this person rather than what I think they might need.
As I mentioned, Rochelle teaches 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, so the kids that need it most.
Wow.
And Rochelle's here in South Miami. She lives in South Palmetto Bay and teaches school in Florida City.
Wow.
So she drives
Oh,
Palmetto
wow.
Bay to Florida City. When she gets done, she comes all the way up here.
Here.
So you have to admire teachers and first responders who are out there giving, especially when you see the youngest of them and you realize the direction. That's the time. When they're 20, maybe it's a little too late to be able to offer a major correction.
It's never too late, but
Right.
but the earlier the better. Right?
Yes. And so when I listen to her stories, it's
Yeah.
wonderful to see that she's doing that. And so that fulfills part of her. And then the other part is she loves doing this.
Mm.
As she mentioned earlier, 2 years, congratulations again. All right. Can you put the camera on you for a second? She goes, I don't want it, but she's going to put it on. Right? And Rachel's going to be on there in a second. Her 2-year anniversary, like right now. Right?
Unbelievable.
It'll be up in a second. She's going to find that it'll be up there in a second.
She has the chance, to give virtually and in person. And I'm admirable of that. The amount of, the word for education in Hebrew is like, Hanukkah is coming up.
Yes.
Is the word chinuch, to dedicate. To be a dedicated person to the children, to those things is really what it's about. It's an amazing thing.
So here's one of the things that we recognized here. Where is she? There's she. I think I saw her. Boy, we got a great shot of the rabbi up there. Here's one of the things that Brandon and I recognized last year. I said, we need to get some Haitian women to come here and do a show. We have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Now we have the president of the Haitian American Club.
Right.
She's here every week, once a week. And she comes here once a week. One of the things we recognize, there are some people that are more expressive about their feelings. And in this environment, people that look like me, pretty much, not expressive except for my brother and a couple other people, right? But the Haitian women are more expressive and more appreciative, and it's really an extraordinary event to have them come here. Mm. We researched, and we just got, we weren't acting smart. We said, well, we want somebody. Mm. And when she walked in the door, I know these things are not coincidental.
Right.
It was supposed to happen. And so let's talk about the classes that you offer.
Yeah.
People can go to your website. What's your website address?
Chabad, swmiami.org.
Are we still trying to get her picture up there?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Okay. Can we put his address up on the board? What is it again?
Chabad, Chabad, swmiami.org.
So for the people that don't know, you don't pronounce the C unless you're Chabad, all right? Chabad, all right? Right?
Call us whatever you want, just
Right.
not late for dinner, right?
Okay. And you have classes all the time.
Yeah.
And you're right off of Miller and 103rd.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so tell us about some of those upcoming classes.
Yeah, so yes, we have classes. First of all, it's not all about classes. I mean, again, talking about community, I went to visit somebody yesterday who, he has a beautiful trees, people like to give fruits. Like you said about giving and receiving. So yes, today we had a lunch and learn which focuses mainly about living with the times, and it's not necessarily, I don't even say the New York Times, we're in Miami, but it's about that, what we were talking about this week's portion, meeting about Abraham and Sarah. This is not just a once upon a time. This is an empowerment for us now. And we have lunch too, so we hopefully, if you want to throw a tomato at me, that's welcome, that's fine. Tomorrow night we're actually starting a new class. It's called The Psychology of the Soul. It's based on the Tanya. We often think that we have to be, in our minds, we have this all or nothing, one of the tricks that plays on ourselves is I have to be perfect or what's the big deal? So the book, the Tanya, really says the great advantage of being the average Jack and Jill. And that's really the great opportunity that we have in this world. It's about progress, not perfection. So that's something that tomorrow's class is going to focus on as we start it. I think many people are looking for that perspective that what I do matters infinitely now, incrementally. It doesn't mean I have to reach the finish line like we were talking about earlier. As well as we have, every week we have Shabbat, we have community meals, which thank God are growing. People are coming and bringing friends, and they feel like they're part of the family. And then Hanukkah's coming up. We have the idea of spreading light, like we did here today. One light lights another, and it doesn't lose anything, right? So you keep on spreading light. And that's a universal message, something we hope to share with the community. And many things in between.
Oh, there we go. Richard, thank you so much. This is Richard.
Hey,
Hello,
Richard.
Rabbi. How are you, sir?
Richard,
Ari, nice to meet you, Richard.
Face the camera. Turn around. You're on.
I can't be on.
Thanks for being here.
Okay, I'll be there at 6 in the morning, so
Good.
I'll see you.
That's what we call a photo bomb right
Nice
here.
to meet you,
Yes,
too.
exactly.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sure.
All right. That's Richard, the loveliest man that I know. So here's one of the things that I do want to touch on. So often people think that Chabad is a Orthodox organization, but you don't have to be Orthodox to participate. Tell us about that.
So and this is maybe an often quoted expression that we have, is labels are for T-shirts, you know. And I think there's two parts of it. Like one, like I was saying about Abraham and Sarah, the sense of belonging is inherent. We're not selling any. This is who you already are, and we're inviting you to be a part of that community. If you think about how community forms and how it's always been, and you know, going back to Abraham and Sarah, right? Their tent was open on four sides, it says, and all back to the shtetl and in Europe and now into America. I think it's been a little bit commercialized in a sense, the idea that somebody goes to a synagogue and this is your denomination and I get that. You know, in America we have very much more individualism expression, and that's healthy in some ways too. On the other hand, what it's always been about is community, right? There's the town plumber and the town butcher, and there's the rabbi too. He's another guy so I talk to him for get his advice on this, and this guy's my mechanic, and that's the way it always is supposed to be, really.
So the Rotary Club is all over the world, and if you're a member over here, you can go over there,
Right.
and you can make up meetings so you can have perfect attendance.
Right.
So with Chabad here in South Florida, I think there's 15 or so really in this region, actually from, I think, Aventura South, at least 15 that I know of.
Could be more, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and tell us how you wound up getting involved with Chabad, because you have many choices.
Actually, my friend would say NC. As you know, no choices.
Yeah.
And the choice is acting in accordance with who we are meant to be, right? Like that where is my soul meant to shine? And I think in life that is a lifelong progression, and Chabad is actually, we don't own the teaching. I guess they say, right, there's more Chabads and more places than Coca-Cola, but we give out the secrets, we don't keep it. That this is something we all have. Chabad actually stands for, maybe we've mentioned this before, Chachma Bina Das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. That, wait a second, my connection with something bigger and my community and another person is meant to meet my understanding. How I can, there's a bigger picture, and there's also my individual contribution to that. So
Did you have an aha moment and you said, that's it? Or you just like, all right, this is where I'm going, and I've been that way since I've been 2.
You got to talk to my mother about that. It's again, I think it's a progression. I mean, there's certain things that, in talking about what you were saying about humility and giving and receiving, I think it's a similar thing in, I guess, your individual path in life. It takes a great deal of humility to say, where am I needed most? And I think we all are kind of always wanting to fulfill that, because that's the natural, again, the belonging piece, that we all have this sense of giving is something that I have to give. But that changes and evolves through time. There's probably been many, many aha moments, and they still go on. They still go on every day. I'm like, where was I supposed to, yesterday I tried to go to visit our dentist. We also learn in his office, and beautiful people. I don't know, this I'll plug, New Smile Dentist in Kendall, and a beautiful, beautiful family. And the office was closed on a Tuesday. We usually go, and the administrators were there, so I made sure to make an appointment for my family. But from that, on my way home, I said, wait a second, I'm right by my friend's house, Dr. Cohen, and I know that they had somebody in his family who was hurt recently. I said, this is a perfect opportunity to stop by and see him. and we shared back and forth, things that were going on with him, with me, and things that we could grow from together. So I didn't know where I was supposed to be then, but I showed up. So it took a sense of, okay, where do I need to be right now? I could, like you said, I could say the office is closed. No, another office is open, so to say.
So often, a lot of us were growing up, we would frequently say, "Oh, isn't that coincidental?" And I think as you get a little older, you go, "No, I don't think it was coincidental."
No, right.
And I think an eye-opening moment, I may have discussed it before, was in April, and we had 45, 50 people from different chambers of commerce. And I said, as we opened up, I said, "Some of you don't know why you're here. And you may be here for one reason, but I'm going to tell you the other reason you're here is to hear about autism." I said, we have somebody from the Center for Autism and Related Disorders from the University of Miami. We have the Miracle League, which is baseball, softball for children and adults on this arena. And then we have somebody from Friendship Circle. We start talking, and then who walks in? He came in because he got one of our newsletters saying that we were having an open house here. No one knew what I was going to talk about. And the guy's wearing a hat. He says, "Autism, Dad." I said, I know it's not coincidental. Why don't you come up here and talk about autism? I never met the guy before.
Oh, wow.
Nobody knew what we were going to talk about. So now he has the show here. And I think, Rachel, he's here once a week or at least. And he brings in people.
Wow.
He brings in adults, all right, who have either in the arena or who have autistic children. And I hear the stories all day long. And so I reminded him, no coincidences.
Right.
And when we see that we have that opportunity, and when we can allow that to occur and to pay attention to it, and I think that's one of the things that you were able to do. So how do we get to a point to where when you have your gut or whatever you want to call it, or you hear this little voice talking to you, how can you allow more of that to happen?
Really, the story you just shared is inspiring, and really, that's the answer. The answer is you saw this individual in a moment. Again, it's being open to that moment, but to see that this person has something to give that may be more, right, than I was expecting of this event. I mean,
Yes.
you're talking about the amount of people that were there, and say, wait, again, this is, first of all, it's what you said. It's not a coincidence. We call it divine providence, that this moment was created for a particular reason. This has been waiting 786 years for us to share something together, both physically, spiritually, emotionally. And then to say, this person walked into my life for a reason. Either it's for something for me to share with them, or for them to share it with me, or others, or more so. And you gave that person that platform to do so. I mean, that's what it is. Like, it's a great humility, that sense of, since we all belong already, like we were saying about this week's portion, Abraham, Sarah. So for sure, this person has something unique to give. And why wouldn't I highlight that and raise that in them? It's not going to take any away from my sense of belonging, right? If we had that feeling that, hey, I have my thing to give, and so do they. My right hand's not jealous of my left hand, right?
and I think and we have to practice that and be comfortable enough to go, oh, yeah. Because if you don't participate in it, then you're not a believer.
Yeah.
So, all right, so here we have, it's November. We have Hanukkah. Tell us about Hanukkah.
So like I said, first of all, I would say that we have, again, this week, we're going to have this community Shabbos. So it's an opportunity for people to come out. We have it every week, but this week especially, I think, is an opportune time. We had the holidays of Rosh Hashanah, which, again, it's the Jewish New Year, but it's actually called the head of the year. And the idea is because we all are part of this human body, like the head, and it directs the year to come, that we should have blessings for everybody. So now we're kind of coming off of that, and we're Lech Lecha, we're going. So now I'm in my everyday life. We're here at the studio, we're out in the world, and we have a special, unique mission to give. So that should then lead us, hopefully, every day. My friend pointed out an advertisement in Chicago of a coffee shop. It said, "Enjoy the daily grind." You know, we're looking for.
I like that.
We're looking for the next big holiday, but the big holiday is made today, right? Today, that moment, being open to that. And then we have Hanukkah, right, which is like that accumulation of the light in the middle of, even in Miami's winter, that you have in the seemingly the darkest times, you have the greatest light and potential. And that's what we hope to share with the world. Sometimes we were just talking outside about how sometimes right before an event, we're talking about Shabbat, right? Say Friday afternoon, things seem chaotic. You know, you're trying to get everything ready. And then all of a sudden, the Shabbos means it's a day of comfort, peace, serenity, and it all falls together. And sometimes the world feels like this great chaos going on. I mean, we look, and really, wait a second, it's really all the pieces coming together. And we're like you said, it's about being open to that. It's a training. And I think we have to kind of see past the distractions in our day-to-day life to say there's so much separation, there's so much differentiation of connection, and bring that out in the moment. That's actually what we get to do, what you get to do continuously on the air with people constantly in the example you just brought. So Hanukkah will hopefully give us more opportunities to do that, and by then we'll have a lot more connection in this world.
And there are people that want to find out more about Chabad. They can go online. They can find a place that works for them, right? From Aventura all the way down south.
To Thailand.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
And Chabad, it's really in the last 30 years has really accelerated its posture, throughout the world.
Right.
And I understand here in Miami-Dade County, there's more Jewish folks recently in the last 10 years, which is sort of surprising because we're all used to Hurricane Andrew throwing everybody, moving up to Broward. So tell us, if you would, about some anti-Semitic remarks you've ever heard or seen and how it impacts you and people across the world.
I think first of all, it's not a new story. My grandparents are all survivors of the Holocaust. And that experience is troubling. Anybody who experiences hate to any regard is going to feel a sense of why. Like what did I? Or sometimes it feels like, what did I do? Like you said, what did I do to deserve this kind of thing? And that's troubling and discouraging, and at the same time, what it allows, and I think it's fitting to Lech Lecha, like we're talking about this week's portion of go into ourselves. That doesn't mean to insulate ourselves. It means, wait a second. The message I have for the world is that I matter, and so do you, and not because of something that you are indifferent than me. You know, that's going to determine our value, and it makes us stronger in ourselves. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, you spoke about the movement of Chabad, right? And the growth of it is that he less spoke about, what's the other guy doing? It's like someone like, my kid comes and he says, this kid pushed me into the locker, It's like, wait a second. Not that that's okay, but now's my opportunity to do something different, to show respect, to add more light into this world. You don't fight darkness with a stick. It says you light a candle in a dark room, and it lights the whole place up. So I think that response usually to something like that is to recognize. We could feel, it says in the Zohar too, that we feel one sense of our heart is broken, like, this is ugly, it feels ugly. And the other sense says, wait, but we know about the indomitable spirit, about the soul, about the individual value of each person, and that's what we're here to share.
And it certainly strengthens one.
Yeah.
And I've never felt really discriminated against, except for once that I was acutely aware of.
Yeah.
And then it was at a local restaurant. After about 15 minutes, nobody was waiting on me. And finally, the manager comes up, we don't serve breakfast there, sir.
Oh.
He thought I was waiting for somebody. But in my head, after 5 minutes, why don't they come over? What's wrong? All right.
Right.
And after 15 minutes, now I'm getting mad. All right.
Right.
And so I was able to explore how I really felt about being ignored there. Right. And he says, I'm very sorry. And I moved the table, and 2 minutes later, somebody came over.
Yeah.
So let's talk about people, one's children, and at what point do the Orthodox children own it, that they are there? Is this like almost an immediate thing, or is when they turn 5 or 7 years old, do they have this awareness? And what does it mean for somebody that's Orthodox, where the young adult child who was raised as Orthodox says, Dad, it's been really wonderful, I'm done. Yeah. So tell us how one processes that.
This is not an avoidance of the question, but how I think better. Actually, I just had this conversation with my wife and speaking with different people. I don't think it's an orthodox thing, a non-orthodox thing. It's really relating back to what we're talking about. It's a sense of belonging here. Where do I belong? And I think the number one importance, this is any school of thinking. This is, I think, you said we have a teacher here for many years of 3 grades, right? So the idea is that student feels a part of the class, feels like he's contributing something. And that needs to be encouraged. Like I said, the word chinuch, education, is really dedication. So that's a lifelong thing. There's many times in our lives where I'm not going to be inspired. And that's my personal connection. And then I'm also not going to be knowledgeable about something, so I have to seek where to ask. Something like, I think my father taught me, you got to go to work. The next day, you're going to have to try. I may not want to show up today, but I have people waiting for me, and you have a network here that's always good, and we should be inspired in what we're doing all the time, but not always are we. And the sense is that I am in charge of that. That you have me as, say, a parent, a friend, a community member to support each other. Actually, I just had it yesterday. Somebody had texted me about having to attend a certain meeting, and they were nervous about it. And they were asking if I would come. Maybe my wife would come with them. And they said they were also going to ask their father. And I said, let me talk to my wife, and I'll get back to you. And they got back to me first, saying, you know what? My father said maybe he'd come, and at the same time, I'm feeling like I should go alone. I think that might be better. And I said, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Of course we're here to help, but in the end, you're going to feel empowered, and that's what Abraham started. It says, Avram on Ivri, he was standing on the other side of the river, but he was by himself. Not only was he, like you said, he was rejected completely. It's like, wait a second. Being alone is not necessarily being lonely, and that's what we need to help our families with, our community members, that you always have the sense of belonging and helping you find the right path and believing in that person more than anything. Starts with believing in ourselves, right? That they are going to choose the right path. Because, I did many things, and my father was like, what's he doing right now? And then but I think they had the confidence that it's a journey, but he'll figure out you're going to get there.
Rabbi, the last couple minutes we have. I know that each of us frequently have mentors and people we're thankful for that we've had in our lives. I'd like you to start thinking about a couple of those people. And if you would look right into this camera, Rachel's going to put the camera on you, and it's all you.
I'd like to thank the Millers who inspire me in what they do here. And as pointed out, we are on Miller Road in Miller Landing, and the Millers are here providing a platform for so many people around the world, and that's really, really inspiring, including giving me the chance to share. I would be in deep trouble if I didn't mention my wife. She's a great inspiration to me in being persevering, as well as actually my kids also. We think it says that in our generation we learn from our children, and that the way they challenge me, but also grow in their own way. Of course, my own parents, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, which we've spoken about, the vision of, and we see beyond the physical passing, of creating community in this world, which I have my personal mentors like Rabbi Brofman, who was somebody who nourished me when I was in my school years, the Felegs here in Miami, who gave me the opportunity to come share with the community. And I would say, obviously you can't mention everybody, but more and more so every day, everybody in our community that I meet inspires me with what they have to give, that desire, like you said, to be not only teaching me how to be a good recipient, that not only is my job here maybe to help the community, but they want to give back, that they see ideas for our growth, whether it's a new fridge or a bigger space to grow in, inviting friends of their own. It's inspiring.
Wonderful. Rabbi Ari Werbler, thank you for joining us. And people want to find you, they can find you at Chabad of Southwest Miami. You're all over the internet, right? Your address is there, your phone number's there,
right? And
they are welcome
thank you.
Be there. Let's look in that camera right over there. And first of all, thank you, Michelle, for producing the show. I want you all to know that Grant, my brother, and I subscribe to the Disney rule, which is when you hug someone, don't stop until they do. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us.